I have not achieved everything I wanted to as a writer. I've not been a massive bestseller. I certainly, but I have achieved a lot, and so I don't really I'm happy with my life. I every day, I have something fun and interesting to do every day, and sometimes that's writing. But if it's not, it's fine because I have other things to do. It's actually like having other interests that I can then write about. Frees me from the sort of neurotic chains that bind a lot of writers.
Welcome to the Unspeakable Podcast. I'm your host, Meghan Daum. My returning guest is one of the funniest writers I know, Neal Pollack. Neal is the author of 11 best-selling books of fiction and nonfiction. He is known to many as the greatest living American writer, and you can Google that if you want more on that. He is a 3-time Jeopardy champion. He's a competitive poker player. He's the editor-in-chief of the Book and Film Globe. But most importantly, at least for the purposes of this conversation, Neal is going to be teaching a course for us at the Unspeakeasy. This fall, he will be teaching a course in humor. It's called Humor in Humorless Times, and it's about how to be funny in writing, how to be funny on social media, wherever you might need to be funny, especially just in your life as you walk through the world. It's a great opportunity to work with him, and this is a great conversation. We cover a lot of ground. You can go to theunspeakeasy.com under courses and find out more if you want to take the class. And in the meantime, enjoy this conversation. I certainly did. Neal Pollack, welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, it's good to be here. It's to have my face on the show.
Yeah, it's a new world.
Yeah.
So you were last here, I think a little over 2 years ago, talking about your very funny novel, Edge of Safety, about COVID hysteria.
Yeah.
You're also known, I don't know how well you're known, but insiders know that you were behind the Very Concerned Parent account.
Very concerned COVID parent. Yeah.
Very concerned COVID parent. Is that still going on, or has that been retired?
It still exists, but I don't go there very much anymore. I mean, obviously COVID hysteria has abated. It's still, there are still little pockets of it. But it's not a real thing anymore. And I changed it to be about climate change for a little bit, but I just didn't have the same, the worry about global warming and climate change is there, but it's always sort of simmering. It's never like, doesn't take up everybody's life. So I just kind of let it go. And I wasn't in the mood to do edgelordy stuff on like race or transgenderism or other things.
All right. Well, you're not going to get ahead. I don't know.
I'm not trying to get
ahead. Why you bother?
I'm playing out the string at this point, maybe.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so we're going to talk about any number of things, but I brought you back because I want to talk. You're one of the funniest writers I know, and you are going to be teaching a humor writing course for us here at the Unspeakeasy. So kind of wanted to just talk about how you're feeling about humor these days. A year or so ago, I interviewed the writer Tim Kreider, who's one of my favorite writers and very funny writer. And we were talking about the nature of humor writing and sort of funniness generally. And we both observed that we don't really laugh out loud as much as we used to. And his response to that was that there is just not that much to laugh about these days.
Oh, I totally disagree with that.
Okay. I figured you would. So tell me why.
Well, I mean, the world is the same world we grew up in. It's not like things have changed that much. It's not like what is funny isn't funny anymore. I mean, somebody falling down is still funny in the right context. There are still pompous, ridiculous, bloated people in power, and there's still a lot of ridiculousness in the world. So I would agree that I don't laugh out loud as much as I used to, and that's just because there's not as much funny content. But I still find myself laughing a lot. So I think the world is just as funny now. Just because you don't like who's president or who's running for president or, or whatever, or you feel like for some reason the world is closer to coming to an end than it used to be. And A, that's not true. And B, it doesn't mean it's not funny.
Yeah. I wonder too, like, I hope this is not a function of age, because I feel like I was just constantly laughing or trying to keep myself from laughing at inappropriate times. Or it's just like my salient memory of like high school is just trying not to laugh like hysterically to myself in class. I mean, maybe I was just on the verge of mental illness or something.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I think that, when we're younger, we think more things are ridiculous than we do when we're older. The weight of the world hasn't settled on us yet. But look, I mean, I don't know. Like, I find myself in absurd situations every day, and there's endless amounts of things to laugh about or to make fun of.
Okay,
so
like for instance,
I just disagree. I just disagree with that.
Okay, I'm glad you did.
I'm not. I don't know. I love humor has always been what I use to sort of process the world, and I continue to use it as much as I can.
Okay, like what would be a recent absurd situation?
Okay, so I know we're getting into this a little bit early, but I play poker semi-competitively, right? I'm writing a book about my life as trying to become a professional poker player, playing in these card houses and in these tournaments in the World Series of Poker. So there's this new poker house that opened up just down the street from my house, like 5 minutes away. Big, glamorous, expensive, medium to high stakes poker house. And I've been playing there a bit. And I was playing there every day since it opened. And I started developing a weird rash, like just below my shorts line and like sort of on my lower back. And my wife and I couldn't figure out what was. She's like, "Why do you have this rash? What's going on?" And then so one day we're just sitting on the couch watching the Dodger game, and she's like, "I think you have sofa dermatitis." And so apparently, when furniture is made in China, not necessarily. These aren't cheap chairs at the card house. They're nice leather. They're comfortable. But apparently they treat them with some sort of silica solution to keep them from molding during shipping, and that people have allergic reactions to it. So this place where I've been going and winning hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, I suddenly like have to find myself draping a blanket over the chair and like wearing long pants, like multiple layers of protection against these poker chairs.
Sofa dermatitis.
So yes. So now I'm someone who suffers from sofa dermatitis.
Is there a pharmaceutical for it?
No.
Talk to your doctor.
No, there's no real cure other than I've been putting hydrocortisone cream on my thighs.
Nobody else has this problem in the place? Did you ask around?
Did I ask around? No, Regina, my wife, seems to know how to take care of certain.
She's a painter, by the way, not a physician. So
she's not a physician, but she's a WebMD aficionado. Okay. And it seems to be getting better. I've been playing elsewhere, and I've been covering up my. So that's the kind of thing that comes up fairly often.
Is that so? Sofa dermatitis. That's actually that's a clinical definition.
Yeah, you can look. Well, they call it that because it spread in Europe. People were sitting on couches and chairs, and they were getting these rashes. And then they started banning the use of these chemicals to treat furniture in the EU. So now it's no longer a problem, but it's still a problem in the US and Australia.
Okay.
Which have less rigorous regulatory standards.
It reminds me of like in 7th grade, there was this girl, and she said she didn't have acne. She had epidermia. I remember this clearly.
Yeah, we used to get itchy from sitting on the fiberglass chairs.
Oh, right.
In school. So this is just something like that. So yeah, so that I understand that is not like the world writ large, but when like my big problem for the week is dealing with sofa dermatitis, I can't really take life too seriously. No.
So, okay. So we're going to talk about any number of things in the culture. I want to talk about, I happened to see the Matt Walsh documentary
Yeah.
yesterday, and I know you just wrote about it. This is Am I a Racist? But before we get to that, since we're talking about media, I know you had a lot of thoughts about this recent cover of The Atlantic. This is the October 2024 issue. There's actually at least one piece in there I want to talk with you about, but let's start with the cover, because this is this is like a very unusual cover. It's like sort of spooky. There's Donald Trump is driving a circus wagon that is containing an elephant behind bars, and he is headed toward the Capitol, and he has a whip in his hand, like a horse whip.
There's waters parting, and the Capitol is all shrouded in darkness and lightning or whatever.
It looks like almost like it's AI generated. It looks like kind of the inverse of those sort of trad fetish accounts where they imagine this kind of fantastical milkmaid in a beautiful verdant forest tending to her children, and it looks like something from a video game. It's a kind of similar aesthetic, but in a spooky way.
Yeah, I think it was made by an artist. If I'm not.
Yeah, no, it's not AI. Yeah, I'm not suggesting.
But yeah, it does have an AI look to it. Yeah, I thought that cover was very strange. Obviously, it's like the ultimate current manifestation of what they call Trump derangement syndrome. This idea that Donald Trump is some like uniquely evil antichrist figure who has come to destroy our country. And that his dark vision for America is we're heading down some kind of uber dystopian path because of him. I mean, you could argue that one way or another, I suppose. But what bothered me about the cover was the way, I don't know, like my social media feed is still kind of left over from before I became an unorthodox thinker or whatever the hell that means. But people were just posting the cover. And just like, and everyone was yesing it and
no words,
no words,
no notes, no words.
Oh yes, that is it. People who are living these sort of comfortable, bourgeois, suburban, white collar lives are terrified of this. And so it just annoyed me that people's minds are so distorted by their social media feeds that they actually believe that this ridiculous dystopian fantasy art is reality. I couldn't believe. I was like, "What are you doing?" And I got in some art. I shouldn't have gone on someone's feed. And I said that. I said yawn. I just said yawn. And then people started attacking me. They're like, "Oh, good that you were so privileged that you can just yawn at this." I'm like, it's not. I mean, first of all, Jen from Hunter College, Donald Trump is not coming to imprison you.
Hunter College is not a privileged college. It's a city university.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I think it's a teaching position.
Oh, she's a professor, not a student. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm not making fun of someone who attends Hunter. I understand
Never.
Hunter College is a city university, but it was that kind. It was that the usual attack from liberal academics who are terrified about this reality that doesn't exist. That's all it comes down to. It just doesn't exist.
So you're not worried about the 2025 project?
No. Not anyway. I mean, yeah, am I pro-choice? Yes. Do I like immigrants? Yes. But am I terrified of a policy document that the Heritage Foundation wrote? I think they've been writing policy documents pretty much as long as I've been alive. And some of it comes past, some of it doesn't. You just kind of shit comes and goes.
What do you think of J.D. Vance? I know this was not on the docket for discussion, but I can't.
I think he's very funny. Not intentionally funny. Here's a guy who wrote.
That was a taste of my conversation with writer, professional poker player, Jeopardy champion, Neal Pollack. To hear the rest, become a paying subscriber to this podcast at meghandaum.substack.com, or you can just go to Substack and look up The Unspeakable Podcast. Paying subscribers get 2 extra episodes every month. This is one of them. You can also find Neal at Book and Film Globe, which he edits for and writes for almost every day. He's also teaching a course for us at the Unspeakeasy. The Unspeakeasy School of Thought is offering writing courses later this fall. Neal is teaching a humor writing course. I am teaching a memoir writing course, by the way, not on the same day. You could take both. You could also take our fiction writing workshop with Chaley Widger. And we have a webinar taught by the amazing Lee Stein called How to Get a Book Deal the Easy Way. I'm going to be enrolled as a student in that course. I think that's it for now. I will be back next week with another super nuanced guest. Thanks for joining me. See you then.